guys hear me anyway?
You hear it pretty well.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you all for that. That's the love from this guy is that's the thing that we experience. Hey there. Whoa. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was the response there was just that's pretty indicative of the experience that we had as filmmakers throughout the process. Wayne Franklin, my co-director, unfortunately couldn't be here, but that's what we encountered every time. You think, how difficult is it going to be to get an interview with Alison Krauss, and you say Sam Bush, and it's just doors open wide. So you're not here to hear me talk. I'm going to turn this over to Sam and open things up to questions. So here we go, Mr. Sam Bush.
Heen! Why you say, Heen, I say. Well, you've met Chris Wheeler, and thanks for being here, and can't wait to see how this ends. So if you have questions for Chris or I, we'd be happy to accommodate you at this time.
Don't be afraid to hold your hand up. There we go. Thanks.
What was your process when you started out as a little kid and you started out on the fiddle and you went to the mandolin? What was your process in terms of just practice? Did it just come natural? Did you have to just work at it, scales, the whole 9 yards?
Yes. Actually I did start on the mandolin at age 11 and then went to the fiddle at age 13. And interestingly to me that most people when you play mandolin and fiddle, probably they're fiddlers that also play the mandolin, and I think Tim O'Brien and I are probably some of the exceptions to that we probably turned to the mandolin first. But I started playing the fiddle when I was about 13, somewhere in there, and as I said in the film, if my dad had his way, I would be the staff fiddler on the Grand Ole Opry now. Well, it was just, music was just, growing up on a farm, that was what we had to do. You couldn't just go to your neighbor or house or whatever. So my sisters and I, we sat around practicing, and by the time I got to the fiddle part, it wasn't long before I was in a bluegrass band as the 13-year-old fiddle player. And and then I heard the record by the Dillards featuring Byron Berline on the fiddle. And that really threw everything in overdrive for me. I loved I was a big fan of the Tommy Jackson style fiddling of the Grand Ole Opry, but Byron Berline was really the one when I heard how you could mix Texas fiddle playing with like Southern style fiddling. So that really turned me on to it, and then started going to these fiddle contests, and actually met Byron at the first Weiser, Idaho contest I went to. So Byron was always real helpful. We didn't use the picture of when Byron was like this tall and I'm that tall with him, but I was Byron's little Sierra Hall. But at any rate, but yeah, when you started going to fiddle contests and things, then it was the ones where the contests that I learned the most at were the ones where I really got beaten badly. When I would go to Texas and really get whipped by the Texas fiddlers, but I would also learn the most because I was walking around my tape recorder listening to all these great fiddle players, and so I actually learned the most when I would come in 5th and 6th. The story of the fiddle.
Did your mother and father get to see you advance in your career?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. They stopped loaning me money, so I guess they did. Yeah, it was because my mom and dad, like I said, they were encouraging to play music. It wasn't one of those get a real job kind of things. We grew up on a farm, and they didn't want us to have to work as hard as they did, and I don't think any of me or my sisters have. But no, my dad lived long enough that every once in a while on the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville, they'll call different people that are not Opry members, especially during the summertime when a lot of people are on the road. So we played on the Grand Ole Opry a few times before my dad died. So yeah, that was his kind of dream. That was the Grand Ole Opry and Roy Acuff. you know, that was his Telluride.
How is it you were first invited to the Telluride Festival 41 years ago?
Well, there was a band. Well, seriously, a band called the Fall Creek Band. And were the first promoters of this festival. And they saw our version, the version of Newgrass Revival in 1974 at the Winfield, Kansas Festival. And Winfield, the home of We're Gonna Search You Whether You Like It or Not. The Newgrass Boys actually got them to institute the rule at Winfield: you can't search people with a musician's pass. You won't have us and Norman Blake there, let's put it that way. And but anyway, the Fall Creek Band saw us at Winfield, and there had been already, obviously, the first Telluride Festival, which was the Bluegrass and Country Festival, by the way, at first. So they didn't limit it to Bluegrass. And so we were the first band that wasn't from Colorado to play at Telluride. So that would have been 1975. And when we we hit town, and as chronicled here, couldn't find a place. Finally found it, but the next morning, that's when I met Cooster McAllister. It's about I'm running on about 5 hours sleep. The door, knock on the door, and I get up and I meet Cooster, and he, is really glad to have you here, man. Hey, did you bring your PA? Yeah, because we had some other jobs. Yeah, so what would be later called Festivarians had danced holes in the snake that runs the wires from the stage out to the sound mixing board. So that was over with. So, did you bring your snake too? Brought the snake, got some speakers, the whole thing. But we made friends for life, and around town or with the Fall Creek guys, and especially like the first year, the Ophelia Swing Band was here, great buddies with Dan and Timmy. Magic Music, which Chris Daniels, everybody called him Spoons back then. So the Magic Music, the Ophelia Swing Band, Liberty, I'm not leaving out. But we just felt like we were already making pals for life, and we did.
What advice would you have for young mandolin players?
Advice for young mandolin players. Learn to play rhythm. I don't know. I mean, the advice I have is something that somebody said to me when I was just, 12, 13. They said, pay attention to other people and what they play, because I believe you can learn something from every musician you listen to. If you're paying attention, they might only know 3 or 4 chords, but there's probably something in what they're doing that's of value for you to learn. So keep your mind open to all other players. That's one thing you can do. And when you first start, don't try to play fast, because you're going to be doing that the rest of your life. And then you get a guitar player like Brian Sutton that can play faster than any mandolin player. So there you go.
Yeah, it seems like you've met and played with so many wonderful musicians, but probably there's still 1 or 2 out there that you've not met and had the opportunity to play with. Are there any of those that you could let us know?
Yeah, all kinds.
Yeah.
I mean, really, once again, at this age, keeping up with the young boys is what I'm trying to do. Young boys and girls, I got to keep up with them. But, hey, I got my wish list too. I've never met Eric Clapton. I'd love to play a tune with him. I could sit at the feet of Jeff Beck and grovel. Yeah, John McLaughlin, I would love to. I got to meet John McLaughlin once, and it was great that he was a wonderful, courteous guy. But right here at Telluride, a dream came true playing with Jean Leponti. But yeah, I've got my heroes. They're still, and I still have there's many I haven't played with, but doesn't always apply. But I've been fortunate, get to play with different kinds of people, bluegrass or what have you. And right here at this festival, many of them have happened.
So there are so many good bands out there, especially that are here right now. Do you have a favorite one that's coming up? Or second part question. Is there any of them you're playing with this weekend that you give us a heads up for?
I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
Because, but it was Lynn, my wife, who's, on invitation from certain bands to come out and play some, or said, you got to get out there and play with the young folks, Pappy. You're not going to be playing. But, when our band's not playing, I am fortunate to get to have pals, and I don't want to leave anybody out because I'm standing here with a microphone and the brain is not maybe going as well. But, bands like Green Sky Bluegrass, I enjoy them a lot.
Leftover.
Of course, Salmon, Leftover, and Yonder Mountain, and who else? I've met Steve Canyon. I'm gonna play a tune with them tomorrow. I just feel fortunate that I'm in there somewhere. I mean, I'm not jamming with them that often, but I'll be in the audience when Punch Brothers play after a while, and it's and I'll be sitting there going, yeah, Rock Hooter and Ricky and Sharon. I think that's going to be great. There isn't one young band. There's a band called Fruition that I've played a little bit lately. I like them a lot. And it's just, once again, fortunate to be in that situation to get to jam with people.
You were in John Hartford's string band. I was just kind of wondering how that experience affected your career.
Well, I don't mean to be standing here correcting everything, but I wasn't actually in his string band, but I did play on quite a few of his records over the years, and it was pretty interesting how it all got going, because we first met John at the Bean Blossom Music Festival in 1971, Bill Monroe's Bean Blossom. So we were the band Bluegrass Alliance, and we were still playing by the rules pretty much. We dressed alike. We had belts alike, while still trying to play, maybe some new kinds of things. And what was really great about that festival was that Bill Monroe was hiring different kinds of acts there. So he had John Hartford